Hey y'all, so we're starting a new module and this is going to be unit conversions. We're going to have unit conversions in the United States. We're going to have time conversions. We're going to have unit conversions for metric. And then we're going to have unit conversions across American and metric systems. So the first one, we're going to take it slow. We're going to take just unit conversions in the metric in the US system. And we're only doing one conversion for each one of these steps. I'm not throwing in more than that. We'll talk about more than that after we get the rest of it down, okay? To where you can learn to do conversions for multiple things. But for right now, we're just going to convert one item to the next. So there are two systems of measurement commonly used around the world. Most countries use the metric system. The United States uses a different system of measurement, usually called the US system or the standard. We will look at the US system first. We're going to spend some time here. Some things you need to know. Length in the US system is measured in inches, feet, yards, and miles. Weight in the US system is measured in ounces, pounds, and tons. And volume, which is how much my cup will hold, and this is capacity units, are teaspoon, tablespoon, cup, fluid ounces, pint, quart, and gallon. Fluid ounces are not the same thing as ounces. These have to do with weight. These have to do with what you can fill up. Okay. The first one we're going to talk about is converting feet and inches back and forth. You have to know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. If you know that, then you can write 1 foot divided by 12 inches. That's equal to 1. So remember, when we reduce things, this is just 1. Or you can write 12 inches over 1 foot. These are the two conversions we have options of. I don't think of it this way necessarily. I think of it as, and this is where most people struggle, they think when they're converting, they have to start off with the conversions. And you never, ever, ever, ever start out with your conversions. You always start out with what you're given that you're going to convert from. So here we're saying we're converting from 5 feet to inches. So what am I going to start off with? 5 feet. And I'm going to use the abbreviation. Now, whenever I set any of these up, I set it up just like this. Whatever I'm converting from, times, and I leave a space here for my fraction. I know we haven't talked about fractions, but you don't even have to think about it right now. We're going to learn some specific things about it. I don't even think about these as fractions either. Remember that this is over 1. If it doesn't give you more than one thing, it's always anything it is, it's over 1 if you need that, okay? Right now, feet is in the numerator. It's in the top. So anytime I put, say, like 3 over 3, put that in your calculator, you're going to get 1, which means these two reduce and you get 1. So my goal here is for you to be able to reduce the feet and only have our answer in inches. Now, there's one thing you need to know about fractions when you're multiplying. You will never, ever, ever, ever cross multiply in this class or the next one. You're going to multiply. When you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across. There's no reducing here. It's just multiplying straight across and then dividing if there's anything that you need to divide, okay? So we've got feet currently in the top. So if we want to get rid of the feet, we've got to have feet in the denominator so that when we multiply, they cross out. Now, I don't put any numbers in here yet, not until I get my complete units, and feet and inches are my units. So once I get inches placed, then I can multiply and I can put my numbers in and I can multiply. So right now, if I were to multiply this straight across, my feet would reduce. That's my golden thing I'm wanting here. And then what we want this to become is inches. So I need my inches in the numerator. All right. So that when I multiply across, feet are gone and I'm left with inches. This is the abbreviation. Now that I've got my units placed, I can go in and put my numbers based on what we have here. 1 for foot, 12 for inches. Now we multiply. When you multiply straight across, 5 times 12, use your calculator, is 60. Our feet reduce, one on the top, one on the bottom. That's how we reduce them. and we're left with inches. 1 times 1 is 1, so there's nothing in the denominator. All right. So 60 inches is equivalent to 5 feet. All right. I want you to pause the video and attempt this next one yourself, converting 36 feet to inches. Same concept. Try this yourself. You're going to start off with what you're given, 36 feet. Set up your plan, figure out where you're going to put feet, where you're going to put inches, and then plug in your numbers and multiply straight across. Pause the video, attempt this yourself, and then come back and see how you did. Okay. So feet's in the numerator. Remember, this is over 1. So I need feet in the denominator in the bottom so that when I multiply across, they're gone, which means I need inches in my numerator. Now I plug in my numbers. 1 foot, 12 inches. They are equivalent. Multiplying straight across. My feet reduce, and I'm left with just inches, so I'm golden. 36 times 12, I'm going to use my calculator. 36 times 12 is equal to 432 inches. I don't need to worry about the denominator numbers because right now they're just 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. I could put 432 over 1 and then reduce it to 432, but I skipped that part. All right, convert 10 feet to inches. Same concept. Pause the video, attempt it yourself, and then come back to see how you did. All right, we're going to start with what we're given. We're given 10 feet. And then I'm doing my setup. Remember, this is over 1 since it's no other number. Feet's in the numerator, so I need feet in my denominator. I want inches as my answer, so inches up top. I've got a conversion here that says 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So those are equivalent. Multiplying straight across, feet reduce. 10 times 12 is 120. Don't forget your inches. The units are important. And then 1 times 1 is 1. So if you have trouble with this, put the 1 and then reduce it to 120 inches. It's all Gucci. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions about this as you go along. It is very important. You can't do this without putting the units in. If you try to do this without putting the units in, you're going to mess up at some point and it's just not going to work. There is no way to do this without the units. I always suggest doing this in one step. All right. Just multiplying across and being done. And that makes sure that you end up where you want to be. Let's go to the next one. So same concept. Instead, so I want to give you that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. I want you to try this one first before you come back and see how I did it. That's what we're going to do for the rest of these. I've already given you the basic concept. The same thing the entire way through. There's no difference other than the names of the pieces, the units. So you're going to start with what you're given, the 36 inches, and we're going to convert it this time to feet. So if we've got inches currently in the numerator in the top, we need inches in the denominator in order to reduce that and get rid of the inches and end up with feet. And we want feet, so we want that up in the numerator. Okay. Now that I've got my units in place, this is when I plug in my numbers. 12 inches, 1 foot. Now we multiply straight across. We do not cross multiply. My inches are going to reduce. 36 times 1 is 36. Don't forget your feet. 1 times 12 is 12. Now, you're always going to use your calculator. I do not want you to reduce this, just 36 divided by 12. And that is 3. So 3 feet is equivalent to 36 inches. All right. Please make sure you're writing these steps down because we're going to be expanding and creating another later down the road. So get comfortable with this. The next one is convert 60 inches to feet. So 60 inches times, leave my space. All right, now I need to figure out, well, inches is currently up top. So I need inches down low in my denominator so that they'll cross out. Feet in the numerator because that's where I'm headed. Now that I've got my units in place, I can plug in my 12 for inches and 1 for foot. We multiply straight across. When we do that, inches is reduced. We've got 60 times 1 is 60. Don't forget your feet. Over 1 times 12 is 12. Now let's reduce this. 60 divided by 12 is 5. So our answer is 5 feet. 5 feet is equivalent to 60 inches. Well, that was inches and feet. So now you've got all the support for that part of your homework. We're going to do the same thing, and there's not going to be anything different here other than you've got different terminology, different units. Now we're going to talk about yards. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Okay, so we start with what we're given, 3 yards. I'm going to use the abbreviation, times, and there's my space. When you're figuring out where things go, remember this is over 1. We want to get rid of yards and go to feet. So to get rid of yards, yards is in the numerator, which means I need yards in the denominator so that they'll cross out when I multiply. And when they cross out, I want to end up with feet. So I'm going to put feet up in my numerator. Okay, now that I've got my units in place, I can plug in 1 for yards and 3 for feet. And now I multiply straight across. 3 times 3 is 9. My yards are gone, and I'm left with feet over 1, which is 9 feet. Okay. This next one, please pause the video and attempt this one yourself. You're going to convert 12 yards to feet. Same concept. Start with what you're given. Always start with what you're given. Create your fraction. Put the 12 yards over 1 if you need to, so that you can see that it is in the numerator. It's in the top. Because if yards is in the top, it needs to be in the bottom to get rid of it in your fraction when you multiply. Well, we don't want yards as an answer. We want feet. So we need feet up here in the top, in the numerator. Once we get our units set up, we plug in back up here, 1 yard, 3 feet, and now we multiply straight across on the top and the bottom. 12 times 3 is 36. The yards are gone. I'm left with feet. This is over 1, so if you need to write that, that's fine. But then please make sure and remove the 1 from the denominator by dividing and getting 36 feet. All right, I'm going to give you your conversions again. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Knowing that, pause the video, attempt to convert 9 feet to yards, and then come back and see how you did. Start with what you're given, 9 feet times, set up your fraction, your conversion. Remember, this is over 1. Feet in the numerator means I need feet in the denominator. Feet on top means I need feet in the bottom. I don't want feet in my answer. I want yards. So I need yards in my numerator. Okay. Now, this is where the conversion takes place. This just means I plug in 1 for my yard and 3 for my feet. Once I do that, I can now multiply straight across. 9 times 1 is 9. Feet are gone. I'm left with yards. And don't forget to multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. Finally, break out your calculator and go 9 divided by 3, and that is 3. So your answer is 3 yards. 3 yards is equivalent to 9 feet. Okay. For the next one, pause the video and attempt this one yourself. 18 feet to yards. Starting off, write down what you're given. Oh, I need to write feet. Write down your conversion. Remember, this is over 1. Pause the video and stop and attempt this one yourself. Feet in the numerator, feet in the denominator. I don't want feet in my answer. I want yards. So I have to put a yard up there. 1 yard is 3 feet. Now we multiply straight across. 18 times 1 is 18. Feet are gone. I'm left with yards. 1 times 3 is 3. Whip out your calculator and go 18 divided by 3, and that is 6. So 6 yards are equivalent to 18 feet. Now we're going to add another one. 1 mile is equivalent to 5,280 feet. So all we need to know here is first, what are we starting with? We're starting with 3 miles. Set up your conversion. Pause the video, attempt this one yourself, and then come back to see how you did. They're all set up the same way. Remember, this is over 1. So I've got miles up top, which means I mean miles down low, so they'll cross out, and I'm headed towards feet. Once I get my units in place, that's when I plug in my numbers. There's 5,280 feet and 1 mile. All we do now is multiply straight across. 3 times 5,280 is 15,840. My miles are reduced, and I'm left with feet over 1 times 1 is 1. And then let's just reduce this by dividing and getting 15,840 feet is equivalent to 3 miles. Okay. Convert 12 miles to feet. Pause the video, attempt this one yourself, and come back and see how you did. Start with what you're given. 12 miles. Set up your conversion. Miles is currently over 1. So miles is in the top. We need miles in the bottom, in the denominator. Once we have miles in the denominator, we know that we're headed towards feet. So we put feet in the numerator. Once I get my units set up, I plug in the conversions. 1 mile, 5,280 feet. Multiplying straight across on the top and straight across on the bottom. 12 times 5,280 is equal to 63,360. Miles are reduced. We're left with feet. This is over 1. Again, this part of the step you can skip if you see that it is just 1 in the denominator. And then your answer is 63,360 feet. Please do not leave that over 1 in proper math. All right. Now we're going feet to miles. So you need to know the conversion that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. If you know that, you always start with what you're given, 63,360 feet. I think I just did this one. Remember, this is over 1. So since feet is in the numerator in the top, I need feet in the denominator for it to go away. All right, but I'm heading towards miles, so miles goes up top. Now that I've got my units placed, I plug in my numbers. 1 mile is equivalent to 5,280 feet. And remember, we multiply straight across. 63,360 times 1 is 63,360. Our feet are gone. We're left with miles over 5,280 because 1 times 5,280 is 5,280. Now we divide 63,360 divided by 5,280, and that is 12. So 12 miles is equivalent to 63,360. Let's go to the next one. Convert 10,560 feet to miles. Pause the video, attempt this one yourself, and then come back to see how you did. So 10,560 feet. This is what we're starting with. Set up my conversion. Remember, this is over 1. Feet's in the top, so I need feet in the bottom. I'm heading towards miles, so it goes up top. Next, I plug in my conversions. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. Next, we multiply straight across. 10,560 times 1 is 10,560. Feet are gone. And then 1 times 5,280 is 5,280. And don't forget your miles. Once you divide this, 10,560 divided by 5,280, and we get 2. So 10,560 feet is equivalent to 2 miles. All right. Now we will cover the common equivalency of the basic units of the U.S. system measurement of weight. The rest of those had to do with length. Now we're talking about weight, and we're only going to deal with one conversion on each of these as well. Same exact concept. So once you have a conversion and you know where you're starting and where you're headed, that's all you need. no matter what it is. Even if I use words like one whatchamacallit is equal to 16 thingamabobs, you can do the same exact thing for each one of these, okay? So we're going to convert 4 pounds to ounces. I want you to pause the video and attempt this one yourself and then come back to see how you did. Remember, you start off with what you're given, times your conversion, set up your units, plug in the numbers, multiply straight across, reduce the unit that you're getting rid of, and make sure you answer correctly in ounces here. All right, pause the video. So now I'm going to start with what I'm given, 4 pounds. I'm going to use my conversion number, the LB for pound, set up my conversion fraction. I have this over 1, pounds is in the numerator, so I need pounds in my denominator. Well, I don't want pounds as an answer, so I need to go to ounces. And so I'm putting OZ for ounces up top. Now that I've got my units placed, I need to plug in the numbers associated with those units. So 1 pound is 16 ounces. Multiplying straight across on the top and straight across on the bottom, I get 4 times 16, and that's 64. Pounds are gone, pound over pound, and I'm left with ounces. This is 1 times 1 is over 1, so my answer is 64 ounces. Okay. Convert 18 pounds to ounces. If you did not pause your video for the last one, please pause your video for this one. Attempt this in yourself and then come back to see how you did. Start with what you're given, 18 pounds. We're converting from, remember this is over 1, pounds up top, so I need pounds down low. I'm heading to ounces, so OZ up top. Once I get my units placed, I can plug in my numbers. There's 16 ounces in 1 pound. Now we multiply straight across. 18 times 16 is 288. My pounds are gone. I'm left with ounces. And then my denominator is 1 times 1. So my answer is 288 ounces. As you're going through this, let me know what questions you have. All right, same concept. We've got 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. We're going to convert 32 ounces to pound. Pause the video, attempt this yourself, and then come back to see how you did. Start with what you're given. Set up your conversion. Remember, this is over 1. We want to get rid of our ounces. Ounces are on top, so I need ounces on bottom to get rid of it. And I want to end up with pounds, so I want LB up top for pounds. Now that I've got my units placed, I want to plug in the conversion rates. 1 pound is 16 ounces. Multiplying straight across on the top and straight across on the bottom, 32 times 1 is 32. My ounces are gone, and 1 times 16 is 16, and don't forget your pounds. Now is when we whip out our calculator and go 32 divided by 16, and that is 2. So 32 ounces is equivalent to 2 pounds. All right, last one. Pause the video, attempt this one yourself, and come back to see how you did. Same conversions. Starting with what we're given, 80 ounces times your conversion. Remember, this is over 1. Ounces is in the top, so I need ounces in the bottom for it to go away. I'm heading towards pounds. Now I put my conversion in. 1 pound is 16 ounces, multiplying straight across on the top and straight across on the bottom. 80 times 1 is 80. My ounces are gone. Don't forget your pound. 1 times 16 is 16. 80 divided by 16 is 5. So 5 pounds. That's it for the lecture. Let me know what questions you have. Please get your homework done, and so we can talk about any issues you have.